What is a man? Okay, two things. First of all, I have not seen the newest season of the Castlevania Netflix series that has gone up just a few days ago. So please don't post spoilers in the comments. Thank you. And second of all, forgive my slight grogginess. I have just gotten my second vaccine shot, so I'm I barely on this planet right now. But I don't know. I was feeling just not woozy enough to try to knock out a quick Kirblog after all. So here we go. And this isn't so much a review of the show. I've been kind of noticing that, like, I don't know. I guess I want to mix it up a little bit because I've been noticing that, like, my reviews of whatever I'm watching at the time, which is really all I have time to do Kirblogs about, because that's all I'm doing between working is just watching stuff. But I don't know, they don't seem to be really engaging people all that much, and even I'm growing, I guess, a little bit tired of them. So I guess this is a little bit different. But my review of the Castlevania Netflix series, at least the first 3 seasons worth, is it's really, really, really good, and I love it. Oh my God. So there you go. Okay, thanks for coming by, guys. I've been thinking a lot about just, things, about life, about where I'm going and what I'm going to be doing, in the future. I'm aiming to get the tome game finished by fall of this year, if we're all on track for that. And I've been through a lot, and I've had a lot of my, like, worldviews challenged in various ways. I'm sure you all can probably imagine why. But I think that in that, I've also tried to hold on to my humanity and my drive and my dreams. And it's funny, for as much as I'm not a horror guy, and I've never played a Castlevania. Still to this day, I was just kind of re-listening a little bit to the Castlevania Kirblog I did, like, back in 2017. Good Lord. I've never played a Castlevania game in my life, but there's so much about this show, in various ways that I connect with, beyond just the fact that it's brilliant, entertaining, and perfectly executed as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I don't know. There's certain things about, like, the sort of brokenness of all of the major characters that is something that I'm finding myself connecting with on a little bit of a deeper level now. I love all of the main characters, like all of the ones that we give any kind of, like, attention to on a consistent basis, in terms of, like, like cutting to Alucard and Isaac and Hector and Trevor and Sypha, and, even Saint Germain to some extent, and before that, when he was still alive, Dracula. But there's this, that good old Reagan Arataka quote of, "You're the protagonist of your own life," kind of thing, which is very true. The show makes you feel very much like you like every single one of these individual people, they really truly are the protagonists of their own life. And so, like, you really do genuinely get invested into each and every one of them in that way. I found myself on this because I basically went back and I rewatched the entire series again, and then I'm going to be watching the new season very soon. Maybe I'll do that as like a separate Kirblog at some point. I don't know. But I guess I just since I have a little time before Saturday, and I wanted to get something out, and I was like, well, I'm not going to get to season 4 in time anyway, so I figured I'd do something a little different and talk about just kind of my thought process when I was watching the show again. Particularly when it comes to the characters of Hector and Isaac. The two of them being these characters that basically gave up on their own species. They gave up on humanity, and they swore loyalty, by willingness or otherwise, to vampires. And seeing kind of the duality of, like, where that loyalty gets them and the betrayal that they keep facing in different ways. That continues to break them and continues to challenge them, not to say that the others aren't interesting too. I feel like when it comes to Trevor, and maybe we'll get to this soon, but I feel like with Trevor, it's like he's kind of already been through all of that. And when we first started seeing him at the beginning of the show, he's like, all right, I'm past that point. Now I'm trying to pick back up the pieces. I feel like with Hector and Isaac, we are seeing in the midst of that, you know, and including their origin stories as well. And I had actually even forgotten, because it had just been so long since I rewatched it, I had forgotten that we even saw how they met Dracula and why they were the way they were. And seeing these two different sort of perspectives as to why, like, humanity sucks. Like, why bother? Maybe they should all be wiped out. Maybe this is what humankind deserves. And the vampires, in their more kind of pure sense, it reminded me a little bit also of the way that, like, other certain anime characters have been. Ryo from the Devilman Crybaby version specifically, and his fascination with the demons of Earth. And even Sensui from Yu Yu Hakusho, with his, wanting to, rid the Earth of humanity as well and let demons roam free. I've always found that kind of character motivation for villains. And I guess, again, even that line is kind of blurred with Hector and Isaac. Like, are they villains by definition? Like, that's kind of a question mark. That's kind of debatable, to be totally honest. And especially because as I was following their stories and now with, a bit of a different life perspective from my experience over the last few years, it was something that gave me a lot of pause. And it made me think beyond maybe just like the themes of the show and just the entertainment value of it and just, seeing where they're going. It made me think about how it applies to my own life. I've been really disgusted by humankind in a lot of different ways. And, when you work in the entertainment business, I think that there's some level of like, what you signed up for. And you have that, like, that Rob Paulson has this great quote of like, nobody put a gun to your head and said you had to be an actor kind of thing. And I think that applies for really any kind of creative job, entertainment industry or otherwise. But I've been on the internet for a long time too, and I've kind of seen how like the nature of people has changed. I don't want to say evolved, because I think that there are things in our lives that have evolved, but I don't think that humans have evolved. I think that humans have just changed. And often I look at the whole of everybody and it's jokes. I look at the entirety of the human race, and sometimes I really do have that like nihilistic, everybody sucks. What the hell's the point? Like, and I had this other thing recently. I had a conversation with someone, and the takeaway from it was I had to be honest with myself about why I do what it is that I do with my creative works. I do really care about the impact that it leaves on other people, whether it's the viewers, the players, or even the people that I work with personally, that I give opportunities to, money involved or otherwise. And also I had to be real with myself about how, but I think that also primarily I do it for me, for my own happiness and satisfaction, because it's my mode of self-expression. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that there's anything like sinful or like overtly selfish about that, I guess, but I don't know. I guess that is within the eye of the beholder. And like even with the Tome game in particular, it's like, it's a story, without spoiling the content of it, it's a story about trust. And my thoughts about trusting people are very different than they were before I started production on the game, or even before I was doing the show. And sometimes I look at that and I have this very pessimistic sort of thought process of like, do I even really believe in these things anymore? And then I try to take the opposite approach of like, well, maybe even if I don't, then I still wrote the story with a sense of sincerity, you know, because I wrote it for all intents and purposes before, you know, the last couple years. And it's kind of like a time capsule. It's so ironic. It's a time capsule of my state of being in the mid 2010s, or I guess mid to late 2010s. And it takes place contemporarily in the year 2020, when not just myself, but the entire world were going through really, really difficult challenges, and adversity and suffering. And, you know, investigating those things and looking at those things. Like in June of 2020, I watched the news for the first time. I'm not a person that follows the news, really. And I wanted to really pay attention to what was happening in the world. So I was trying to follow some, you know, unbiased sources, you know, to whatever extent I could find them, and kind of have a little bit of a perspective on that too, and try to see the good in what people who are, you know, also facing adversity in, you know, ways a lot more severe than I were going through. And when I think back to, like, with the challenges that the characters face, Hector has been through hell continually. He is time and time and time again manipulated by people and just screwed over at every turn. Every time he lets himself, you know, let someone in that he chooses to trust, he is betrayed and hurt. But despite that, he still hasn't given up, or at least not so far from what I've seen. Isaac had given up. He was just, you know, absolutely like, no, humanity can all die, and I will see to it. I will carry on Dracula's work. And yet he'll have moments like with the collector who gives him the mirror, and the ship captain, where he has these moments of seeing like some of the good in humanity, some of the enjoyments, the happiness, the surprise, the gift that humanity can bring. And I think that, you know, that makes me think also for myself, both of those things. I had a point in time where I was ready to give up. I wanted to disappear off the face of the earth. I've been depressed in my life. I've been through a couple dark spaces, but never like I was during the time that I'm talking about. And but when I was faced with, we'll say, an opportunity to disappear, I really, once again, was honest with myself. And I realized, no, I care too much about doing what it is that I love to want to stop doing it. I wasn't thinking so much about whether it was more for the benefit of other people or more for the benefit of myself, for, you know, whoever's happiness it was for, but just that I love doing it and I don't want to stop. And I don't want to stop doing it the way that I do it. So I didn't give up, despite everything that I had been through and the challenges that I was presented with. I didn't give up. And then similarly, when I have many days where I look and I just am disgusted with the world. I watched Lindsay Ellis's video recently, called Mask Off. Highly recommended if you guys haven't seen it. And say what you will about it. It was very powerful. And I really connected with it a lot for a multitude of reasons, not just the ones that you might perceive. And when she talks about the beast, this kind of vague, mysterious, all-encompassing fear that the world is faced with. And then once again, I hear Isaac talk about hatred and fear. And I'm like, that's what it is. that's the beast that we all bow to, everybody. And I feel a sense of peace now that, like, I don't really feel scared. Like, I feel scared at times, but not to the intensity that I once felt. And there's something very freeing about that. There's also something very imprisoning about that at times. And that's because I feel like most everyone else around me is scared. And that makes me angry, and it makes me sad, and it makes me not like people. But then I have those moments where I meet, my equivalents of the collector or the ship captain or the old woman, where I have moments of just like joy of just, for whatever little it is, just some level of like empathy, some level of like wanting to root for somebody else, and wanting to help nurture somebody else. Or if they ever show me a level of kindness and provide me a gift or make me laugh with a joke. It's something that I try to cling to as much as I can. It's something that I try to be the light that pierces through all the dark clouds. And that's the thing that I try to hold on to that keeps me going. And I think that rewatching these episodes again, and even just also connecting with other things about the story. I mean, just there's so much about it that's so inspiring. Like it was so crazy. There were even things about some of the plot elements at various points that were very reminiscent of things that I wanted to do with Balancing Act, that I may or may not change, depending, because that's something else that kind of actually is a perfect segue. Because I've been thinking about, all right, when I finish the game, what am I going to do next? What's next for me? And the truth is, I don't know yet. There's a part of me that's very heavily leaning into saying F it and doing a Balancing Act feature film. Because I'm not getting any younger. We all only have so much time on this earth. And if I only ever do the one, I'll have finally done it. I don't know. So I think I think that the fact that I don't have an answer yet, the fact that I don't know quite what I'm going to do yet, I think that that's okay. I don't feel bad about not having an answer just yet. And the fact that I will still have the freedom and the opportunity to figure it out as I get there. I'm grateful for that. That's something that I've also really tried to cling to, is a level of gratefulness. And still having the excitement of like shows to watch and games to play and movies to watch and, stories to experience, and to feel, inspiration. The fact that I haven't lost that, I'm grateful. The focus of this game project that has been with me throughout everything, for 4 years, almost 5, believe it or not. And also for the people in my life that I do have, that all have believed in me and who have stuck with me. I don't have my Lenores who make me their slave. I don't have my night creatures, which are my slaves. I have my Syphas and my Trevors, depending on the perspective. That's what I have. And I think that that's good that I have that. And so I just felt like kind of just putting my thoughts out into the world. I suppose in some weird way, because on another kind of, low level, whatever kind of sense, I've been trying to just keep up a level of consistency with putting a video out every week or two, as much as I can, because it's my way of like staying relevant and keeping productive and trying to move forward and just stay active, and maybe there's something, I guess, inherently like slimy about that, because it's like, it's playing the game of like, got to keep that consistency, got to play with the algorithm, YouTube and content creation and being an internet person or whatever, I guess. But I don't know. I guess also like I haven't put thoughts like this out into the world in a long time. And I feel a sense of safety to just do that, because this is who I am. And yeah, just to talk about, really at the end of the day, to just talk about a cool cartoon that I watched and how it left an impact on me and how it made me think, so yeah, I don't know. I do wonder about how people will think of this too. And maybe there's even, admittedly, there is a part of me, there's a little feeling in my chest, and I don't know, maybe it's the fever talking, because I'm still a sweaty mofo right now from the second shot. I don't know, but there maybe even is a sense of fear. There is still a little sense of like, oh no, what if people get upset about me making this video or something? I don't know. Because it's not just, here's a Castlevania review. It's me being naked with my thoughts and feelings about things, about everything. I don't know. But I feel like I shouldn't be afraid to just like be able to do whatever I want, because it's not hurting anybody. And this is who I am. This is what I do. These are my values. This is what I care about. And I want to be excited about the future. I want to look forward to whatever will come next for me. In the same way that, because I know that this final season that I'm about to watch soon, is, I know it's the final season of this sort of, Castlevania 3 arc with Trevor and, the characters associated with that point in time. I'm excited to see about what their futures hold, the good and the bad. And I think that none of us should ever lose that excitement. I think that we all maybe need to be challenged. We need to have our worldviews spun on their head once in a while to like really be able to have a wider perspective on life. And to just be grateful and to find joy. There was another thing too, and another really powerful video. It's funny, I've really gone off the deep end with different things. A lot of you guys know I kind of fell down the VTuber hole. Jesus, the Belmont hold, the VTuber hole. And there was a Q&A that Gouda did. And somebody asked about like, what's your life experience advice? And she just got like super real and was like, stop giving a damn. Just stop. Just live every day and have fun and don't care about what other people think, because you're living for you. And I'll never forget that. I don't think I'll ever forget that. So that's it. Thanks for listening. I don't know what to say in terms of leaving comments. Yeah, I'll leave that up to you guys, I guess, if you made it this far. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.